What looked like a promising weekend for Ferrari quickly turned into another frustrating afternoon for Lewis Hamilton at the Austrian Grand Prix. After showing encouraging pace in qualifying, many fans believed Ferrari could finally challenge Mercedes and Red Bull over a full race distance. But once the lights went out, it became obvious that qualifying speed and race pace were two completely different stories. Hamilton made a fantastic start and immediately found himself battling teammate Charles Leclerc into the opening corners. He defended aggressively, positioned the Ferrari perfectly, and looked confident during the first few laps. George Russell led the race from pole position, while Hamilton settled into the fight near the front. For a short period, Ferrari looked genuinely competitive. But as the laps went by, the balance of the SF26 began changing dramatically. Track temperatures climbed beyond 50 degrees, creating extremely difficult tyre conditions for every team. While Mercedes and Red Bull managed the degradation relatively well, Ferrari began struggling with rear tyre wear almost immediately. Hamilton reported oversteer on team radio several times during the race. Every time he tried to push harder, the rear of the Ferrari became increasingly unstable. Instead of attacking the cars ahead, he was forced into tyre management mode much earlier than expected. Then came one of the biggest moments of the Austrian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen rapidly closed the gap behind Hamilton, setting up one of the most exciting battles of the afternoon. The two world champions raced wheel to wheel through multiple corners, refusing to give each other any space. Into turn 3, Verstappen launched a bold move under braking. Hamilton fought back immediately on the exit. Through turn 6, both drivers remained side by side at incredible speed, producing one of the cleanest yet most aggressive battles we've seen this season. Many fans questioned whether Hamilton forced Verstappen too wide. The stewards reviewed the incident, but decided no further action was necessary. It was simply hard racing between two elite drivers. Eventually, Verstappen completed the overtake, but Hamilton had already delayed the Red Bull long enough to help George Russell extend his advantage at the front. Unfortunately for Ferrari, things only became more difficult after that. Ferrari decided to pit Hamilton relatively early for hard tyres, hoping an aggressive strategy would create an advantage later in the race. Initially, the plan looked reasonable, but the hard compound never really came alive. Hamilton continued reporting balance issues while the team repeatedly instructed him to manage temperatures and reduce engine power. Whenever a Formula One driver has to run lower engine modes, overtaking becomes significantly harder because straight-line speed is immediately compromised. Ferrari then attempted another strategic gamble during the virtual safety car. Hamilton switched onto soft tyres while several rivals stayed committed to different tyre strategies. On paper, the decision looked aggressive. In reality, it sacrificed valuable track position. Hamilton rejoined behind Oscar Piastri and spent the remainder of the race trying to recover positions without having the outright pace needed to make decisive overtakes. By that stage, the true picture of Ferrari's performance had become impossible to ignore. George Russell controlled the race brilliantly. Max Verstappen recovered from 5th on the grid to finish 2nd after another outstanding recovery drive. Kimi Antonelli impressed everyone with exceptional race pace throughout the afternoon. Hamilton, meanwhile, was left fighting simply to maximize the result available. After the race, Hamilton didn't hide his disappointment. He admitted it had been an extremely difficult afternoon and explained that tyre degradation became exactly the problem he feared before the race even started. His comments weren't emotional, they were honest. Ferrari simply lacked the consistency needed across a full Grand Prix distance. That may be even more concerning than strategy itself, because strategy can only work when the underlying pace exists. No amount of perfect pit stops can compensate for a car that overheats its tyres, struggles with rear grip, and forces its driver into constant management mode. Austria exposed those weaknesses once again. Ferrari showed flashes of speed over one lap, but over an entire race, they simply couldn't match Mercedes or Red Bull. That explains why Hamilton's post-race interview attracted so much attention. He wasn't looking for excuses. He wasn't blaming individual mechanics or strategists. Instead, he highlighted the bigger picture. Ferrari still has performance problems that must be solved before they can consistently fight for race victories. With every passing race, the championship battle becomes even more intense. Mercedes continue improving. Red Bull remain dangerous every single weekend. McLaren continue collecting valuable points. Ferrari cannot afford many more weekends like Austria if they genuinely want to compete for championships. Hamilton extracted almost everything possible from the package he was given, but even a 7-time world champion can only do so much when the car underneath him lacks the pace to challenge at the front. The Austrian Grand Prix may not have delivered the result Hamilton wanted, but it revealed exactly where Ferrari still needs to improve. Now the biggest question is whether Ferrari can solve those problems before the next race, or whether Hamilton's frustration will continue to grow as the season progresses. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did Ferrari lose this race because of strategy, or was the real problem simply a lack of pace? If you enjoyed this Formula One analysis, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more F1 news, race analysis, post-race interviews, and exclusive Formula One coverage every race weekend. But one thing became crystal clear after Austria. Ferrari doesn't just need better strategy. They need a faster race car. Lewis Hamilton has now completed enough races with Ferrari to understand exactly where the weaknesses are. Qualifying pace is improving, but on Sundays the car still struggles with tyre degradation, balance, and long-run consistency. Those are championship-winning fundamentals, and right now Ferrari simply isn't matching Mercedes or Red Bull in those areas. The good news for Ferrari fans is that the season is still far from over. Several important upgrades are expected over the next few race weekends, and Hamilton remains confident that the team can close the gap. But confidence alone won't win races. The next few Grand Prix could define Ferrari's entire 2026 campaign. If the upgrades work, Ferrari could be back fighting for victories. If they don't, Hamilton's frustration will only continue to grow. One thing is certain. This championship battle is becoming more exciting every single weekend, and every strategic decision, every pit stop, and every lap now matters more than ever. Now I want to hear your opinion. Did Ferrari lose this race because of poor strategy? Or was the SF26 simply not fast enough to challenge George Russell and Max Verstappen? Leave your answer in the comments below. I read as many of your comments as possible, and I'd love to know what you think. If you enjoyed this analysis, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Formula Redline for more Formula One news, race analysis, post-race interviews, and exclusive F1 content after every Grand Prix. Turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest stories from the world of Formula One. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.